Look, well, let's not stand on ceremony, mate. Let's start the show.
Okay, and we're here with another episode of 710 Squared. What's happening, Ro?
Oh man, just a little bit of everything, man. A little bit of everything.
Oh yeah, like
I'm
what?
I'm bowdy. That's like we used to say in the '90s. I'm bowdy.
Yes, a Master P side of the
I'm ready
game.
to. I'm ready to go. I'm bowdy because look, I don't want to derail the show off the bat, but you know they say, the nature of the universe, its true state is called entropy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chaos, right? Just stuff bouncing into stuff, atoms, molecules, particles, just bouncing into stuff. But whenever you see order, that's either the hand of God or the hand of man. God makes the planets rotate without missing a beat. Man will make a traffic light so cars don't crash unless you've been drinking. So, but the beauty of entropy is that when stuff is in motion, no matter how bad it seems, anything can happen. And with this CBD and cannabis market, anything, it's just so much happening right now that it's going to be almost easy to direct that energy into a direction you need to go to be successful.
Oh, you getting spiritual today?
Look, I told you I was rowdy, goddamn. Hey, but listen, but not only is it spiritual, it's philosophical, because in the Western mind, we tend to look at things as half empty. You know, we always look at something that if it didn't go our way,
Yeah.
or it didn't look like what we thought it was supposed to look like when we dreamed it up,
Yeah.
that it's a hindrance.
Yeah.
But when you understand how things really work,
Mm-hmm.
when you understand how things really work, not how you were taught or the version of reality or history you were given, how things really work, man, stuff is actually setting you up to succeed, but you're missing it. But I'm done. I ain't mean to hijack the show. But so as we go forth into the CBD, this journey, this 710 Square journey, and Loris, you reading these stories about how they doing this and assessing fees and licenses and trying to price people out the game, just keep that in mind, because as long as stuff is in motion, it's going to be actually easy to win. You're just not going to win the way you thought. I'm done. I told you I was about it.
Love it. I'm sure the audience is going to appreciate that bit of spiritual guidance just
Hey, man.
been shared by Brother Ro.
Hey, I ain't nobody's pastor.
Pastor, I was about to call you Pastor Ro. So
hey, look, I ain't your pastor, but I'm close.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening. New York just passed a law where you can no longer test somebody for marijuana prior to hiring them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know why? Because they probably can't fill any positions these days.
Oh, you think that's what it is?
I know that's what everybody high. Everybody high. So I mean, and I wonder these questions. I mean, if everyone's high right now, how do you do a drug screening? If everybody's high right now, how does the police pull you over and detect if someone is driving while impaired? And they got the whole thing and the breathalyzer for alcohol, but the legislation and the technology doesn't exist to determine if someone is impaired from smoking cannabis.
Mm.
You know, it's a wild west right now. It's a wild frontier. But I think that's reassuring. I think that's reassuring for the marketplace also.
Yeah. It's showing that it's definitely on a path towards legalization, but full federal legalization. I know it's statewide, you know, pockets around the country, but as far as the federal boys are concerned, it's still, you know, Schedule 1. But
yeah,
not being discriminated against for that, and not being forcibly tested or screened, I think that's a huge step. Because when I was in college, if you apply for a job, especially if it was at a place other than a pizza place or some food establishment, you know, they had you, you know, you had to do a P test.
Yeah.
Hell, I even saw in the back of High Times magazine they had synthetic pee. They had a company that provided synthetic pee for sale.
Oh yeah. Well, there was one company making like a little bag with a belt that you could put under your clothes and like a little.
Yeah, this one had that too.
Okay, yeah. So you can get the urine from someone else and just go in there and test with it like that, you know.
Well, no, this one it came with a kit because I was looking at it. I was like, what is this? It came with a kit, but you wear the kit under your clothes, and then the urine's already in there. The urine comes with the kit,
Oh, okay.
and then when they tell you to go pee, you go pee, and then it comes out positive.
And the best part is, since it's on your body, it's got that body temperature feel too, because you don't want cold piss. That's a dig.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
But that's a good thing, and this economy is predicted to take some twists and turns and tumbles, and I see when they're pressed for tax dollars and payroll tax dollars, they're going to start loosening the grip on a lot of things to try to free up some cash flow. So, once again, that entropy, when it looks like it's the end, well, it is, but it's the start of something new. So, keep that in mind, folks. You can't walk into the new age unless you close the door on the last one,
Yeah, absolutely. But, and then I saw an ad for cannabis in Entrepreneur magazine. For a brand of cannabis vaping pens, and that took me by surprise because mainstream really isn't allowing cannabis or marijuana advertising to take place. So that was actually a very big surprise. I wasn't expecting to see that in there, but it just goes to show.
Yeah, well, I think the print media market is so fragmented that it is kind of a little bit of everything going on. I don't think the publishers and the marketing agencies have that death grip they had on them in years past. I think things are so fragmented right now that it's there's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah. But it still has that stigma. It still has that stigma of, stoners, potheads, underachievers. The long list of disparaging terms to describe people that partake in the 420 side of the game.
But honestly, I see that fading out in time. I mean, well, here I go. I'm putting my age out there, folks. I got my first tattoo in like '92, and black people didn't do that then. So everybody thought
they
I was
sure didn't.
Insane. Yeah, people thought I was crazy. What is you doing? So then Tupac came along, took some of the pressure off of me. But
Tupac and Dennis Rodman.
Well, no, we don't mention Dennis.
Because I'm sorry, that's where the transition happened. In my opinion, was Rodman.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the NBA when Rodman was in there, he was the only tattooed freak, and he was called a freak because he had not only tattoos, he had piercings.
Yeah.
And then just give him probably about 6-7 years after he left, and you started seeing Iverson and everybody had tattoos.
Yeah. But the funny part is, what was once taboo and rebellious is now commonplace. I talked to a lady the other day at my gym. She's trying to design her first tattoo, and she's 59.
She's a little late to the party, if you ask me.
But that's where it's like there's always that vanguard that breaks through the taboo and takes the heat for it. And then once everyone sees the coast is clear, they come on along and start participating too. I had an ex-girlfriend whose mother was 66 years old and wanted to get a tattoo. And I broke up with that chick, but she probably did it. And so that stigma associated with cannabis and CBD oil, it's only a matter of time till it's gone and it's acceptable. I mean, everyone is so tattooed now, it's almost rebellious not to get one.
Well, I guess I'm going to be in the rebellious category because I refuse to.
You're a rebel.
I refuse to get one. Yeah.
You're a rebel. Yeah. But but with something that was once the province of sailors and bikers and prostitutes.
That's what I was just about to
Now-
say. You beat me to it.
is now mainstream, and so something that was once the domain of near do wells and potheads and stoners is going to be mainstream soon. And it's moving faster though than previous phenomena like tattoos or hell, there was a time when grown men didn't wear sports attire out unless they were in exercising or playing basketball. Now that's all anyone wears.
Those days have long since disappeared.
Yeah. Yeah.
Long since disappeared.
And there was a time if you were wearing sneakers, you was a kid.
Not today.
But now the sneakers are the status symbol and normal. And if you wear dress shoes somewhere, people looking at you crazy. So it's things are changing fast, and there's a lot of opportunity with this mindset and paradigm shift that's going on. We're right at the beginning of it.
Yeah, because I was gonna say when I was coming up, tattoos were for bikers, badasses, and sailors. That was and Popeye. That was it.
Yeah, exactly.
that was it. But everybody and their mama has one today.
Yeah, and it's so commonplace you don't even see it anymore. There was a time when someone had a tattoo, you saw it.
I still see it.
Yeah, but I used to go places years ago, and people used to run and say, "Oh, what is that a tattoo? What does it say?" And I was a subject of conversation. People were analyzing me, and now you just walk around, you don't even pay it no mind anymore. It's just so commonplace.
I remember when I was in college, it was still a bit taboo, and it was still called the tramp stamp. And girls used to get it, but they would get it in intimate places.
Yeah.
They get it to small of their back. They get it to, on the inside of their inner thigh or their hip, or they get it on their ankle, basically so they could go to work.
Yeah.
And if they had to go to any corporate event and wear a dress, it wasn't visible, So
now they
not today.
Now they got it on their face.
Yeah, yeah. That's somebody who definitely lets you know that I have no intention of ever working a 9 to 5.
Hey, but look, I went to a little restaurant. It wasn't nothing fancy. It was like a little burger joint somewhere, and the waiter came up, and I think he was like the manager guy, but he was just helping with tables. And the manager, what do they call that? Manager, whatever they call it. And he had a cross under his eye. Where normally they used to put a teardrop.
Wow.
I guess they put a teardrop meant that you killed somebody. So
that's what I believed it to mean.
So if you get a cross under your eye, you really love Jesus. So he had it, and he was working a gig, and I was kind of surprised. And this was maybe 6 years ago. And these taboos and paradigms change, but this one seems to be moving fast.
Yeah. I saw a video online with this Michael Jackson impersonator called Michael Trapson.
I love that guy.
Yes, I don't think I've laughed so hard. I mean, when I'm talking laughing, I'm talking like stomach hurting on the floor. Laughter.
Oh, man. That Billie Jean and I, damn.
He had one he did Human Nature, and it was about weed.
Yeah.
And Michael being high and smoking weed. Because it's almost like he's a unique impersonator. I wouldn't even call him that, because for him, it's almost like it's Michael in a parallel universe.
Man, let's get him on the show. Yeah,
I guess we're going to have to do that. Going to have to seek him out, because it's definitely like him being in a parallel universe where it's okay if Michael Jackson was just a street dude, but still Michael Jackson.
You know what? Now that you say that, I can totally see that. Like we done dropped into a parallel universe, and Mike was born 25 years later.
Yep.
Than he was.
Yep.
And he was part of hip hop.
Yep. With tattoos and the pimp culture and weed and
he's about 6'5".
Yeah.
Because that dude is tall.
Yeah. I mean, I saw some of those skits. Those skits were hilarious, and some of the videos I think he did a better job on that Panda song than and the original
The
dude.
designer.
Yeah, because that
Yeah.
designer guy, whatever his name is, I don't know what kind of weed he's been smoking, but I didn't understand a word besides the word panda, and I think
Panda
broads in Atlanta. That
in
was that
in
was probably the
Atlanta.
extent of that was the extent of it right there.
And then he admitted he's never even been to Atlanta. I think that might have been what killed his
Oh,
career.
that's too funny. Really?
Yeah, he said. They said so. What you know? He said he was getting interviewed one time. He said, "So where do you stay when you go to Atlanta?" He's like, "Oh, I never even been there." Oh man. Well, the Andy Warhol fame meter says that those 12 minutes of fame you had left just got deducted down to 4.
Oh, that's
Major faux pas.
hilarious.
Major faux pas on your part. You lost
Yeah,
fame credits, Jack. Yeah.
that's hilarious. And the one with Trapson narrate acting out Chris Tucker's "What If Michael Was a Pimp?" That was hysterical. Where him and Tito are driving around and then they see one of his hoes on the sidewalk, and the whole time, like basically, he's just miming the Chris Tucker's voice because Chris Tucker did a skit like that on Def Jam almost 25 years ago. It's talking like 90, 93, 94. And it's absolutely hysterical.
Too much, man. Hey, but look, once again, paradigms changing. That guy 20 years ago would have just been a funny dude down the street.
Yeah.
But because of technology and that, the majority of content or entertainment that I watch is online. It is YouTube, and that would have been unheard of even 5 years ago. I used to work for a major media company, and that was one of their major concerns: how to capture a market share and how to keep an audience with things changing so fast, and they couldn't do it. They threw so much money and stuff against the wall, and they couldn't succeed at keeping people's attention. Everything changed too fast, and here we are in a day and age where if I do watch something, it's an independent content creator on YouTube or the internet. It's not television or even these mainstream movies anymore.
Yeah. Well, to go back to what you said with the word attention and to transition into business mode for a second, we have what is called the attention economy. And Google has what is called attention engineers, whose sole job it is to figure out how to not only attract people's attention, but to maintain and hold it for as long as possible. And these guys do everything from figure out the tones that an alert should make or notification should make, color schemes, layouts, sounds. They spend time listening to sounds so that they know which sounds are the most, I guess, pleasing to a person's ear, or will get them to, jump up and pay attention. I mean, it's truly amazing the level of intricate detail that goes into attention economics and attention engineering. But it's basically gotten to a point now where that is actually a career, that is actually a science, because the average person's attention span when you present them with something is about 5 seconds.
Yeah, very true.
So if you cannot capture them or captivate them within that 5 seconds, they're off to something else. And that
Now,
could
let
be
me ask you this.
your website, that could be your app, that could be your video, that could be anything that you want people to look at. You're working in the attention economy. What's your
Let me
question?
let me let me ask you this question. I was having a conversation with older gentlemen, and we were just saying that the younger generation doesn't seem capable of really being conversational. There's several young men that ask me for advice on occasion, and they're asking me to stop everything I'm doing to give them the benefit of my years, which I don't mind because I'm pretty good at that. And I start talking to them, and within about 97 seconds, they start getting real nervous. And I used to get pissed off, but I realized that they're not in the habit of having conversations that are contemplative and meaningful. that require them to interact.
Mm-hmm.
They're used to communicating online and text or direct messages in which you can control the flow of a conversation or terminate it altogether.
Mm-hmm.
So, with everything you're talking about these engineers that develop these sounds and visuals that keep your attention, is there ever a time when you've got someone's attention that you can keep it for 10, 15 minutes and deliver your story to them about your product or service, and they really resonate with it?
Yeah, because and that's what Instagram has been able to do. That's what Facebook has been able to do. YouTube has been able to do that because even iTunes is competing in the attention economy. Anything that, because if I'm looking at iTunes, that means I'm not looking at Facebook or Instagram. If I'm looking at Instagram, that means I'm not looking at iTunes or YouTube or Facebook. My attention is somewhere else. So basically, if I get your attention, my goal is to keep it. And one of the simplest ways that Facebook did that was having an endless scroll, where you can never scroll to the bottom of the page. So if you started scrolling from now till, you could scroll from this morning till now, you would never see the bottom of the page, because the way they see it is, okay, I'm going to hook you. Then they started getting more intricate. They said, okay, well, rather than show everybody stuff, because there's so many people here, even though this guy's following all these people, or he's friends with all these people, or he's liked all these pages, we're only going to show him the hot content that's coming from these pages. So basically, if somebody puts up, if you have a Ro has a page and he puts up some content and his content is performing, you get some eyeballs. Rather than, okay, well, Ro has 10,000 people following him, and this is how it used to be, where you'd put out some content and all 10,000 would see the content. That's not the case today, because, again, you're competing for eyeballs, you're competing for attention, and there's just too much. There's not enough eyeballs to go around. So they have to sit there and curate. Okay, well, did Ro put something out that's hot? Yes, no. Is it performing? Okay, then you start seeing messages like, "Oh, hey, Ro, you should boost this. Look at this is hot. People are looking at this. Boost it so more people can look at it, because we've already done our little quick litmus test, and we know that this material, this content, is clickbait, is eyeball worthy." Versus, and usually it might be something that has no value. It's just, I saw one video the other day where it was just a brawl in South Beach, Miami, and it was all women in bikinis, and they fighting in the middle of the street, blocking traffic, probably about 30 women. But of course, the views were just going through the roof, and the shares were going through the roof. Now, is there any value in that? No, but it got eyeballs.
Yeah.
And so it got eyeballs. Facebook pushed it up to the top. So that's it's not about necessarily what the content is. It's about, is it shareable? Is it likable? Does it get views? So as far as holding people's attention, I mean, they like I said, they've distilled it down to a formula. Because you're right, this new generation, they don't. Their values and their way of thinking is a little different because of the technology that exists. So they're not really used to too much actual face-to-face human interaction. So when that happens, they sort of at a loss. They don't know how to respond. But the powers that be, like Facebook and all the rest of them, say, okay, that's fine. We're just going to dictate the we're going to dictate the mind meld. So once we meld with your mind, we're going to determine when we let you go. And that's usually once you start doing the endless scroll, and then maybe you start seeing stuff from the previous day. You're like, oh, I saw this already. Then the mind meld is broken. You're like, oh, wait. Oh, okay. Let me come back to reality.
So sinister.
Yeah.
But that's like when the internet first got hot, and you get on the internet and, you get off work or whatever it is, like it's 5:30 p.m. You get on the internet, you look up, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. You be like, how did this happen?
Yeah. I remember back in the day when the internet first came out, there was a thing as, oh, I'm just gonna go surf the internet. Do you remember that? And
Yeah,
you just
yeah,
get on it and just discover
yeah. See, we're like going down a rabbit hole. Where does it?
where does
You
it
know, it's
take
like
me. And I used
it
to
starts.
find all kinds of things, all kinds of websites, and you know, I remember there was this guy that was trying to start an internet directory. Can you believe that? It didn't last
Yeah, I
too.
think I.
It didn't last too long because he couldn't keep up.
No, it's a living thing now. It's
Yeah,
its
he
own
couldn't keep up.
it's its own universe.
But he
It's like,
actually had an internet directory, and he was selling it for $15, and it was sold at Barnes and Nobles.
you know what though? It was so new and so strange and so different and so unfamiliar and so amazing. It was so much at the same time that I really think now that you're telling me, I think that was required for some people.
Yeah,
You
back
know,
then
because
because they didn't know, nobody knew what was out there. They didn't know what was available, nor did
I
they
mean,
know where to find it.
they didn't even know what it was. An internet, a website, you www. Like, what is it? And I remember trying to explain to people what it was, and they were like, "Well, I don't. What? Why would I buy something on there?" And now you can't buy anything without being on there.
Yeah, speaking of that, Africa's Amazon, or Nigeria, well, let me be more specific. Nigeria's Amazon, called Jumia, launched on the New York Stock Exchange today and
Oh man,
is
let me go
already
on there,
selling for $24.15 a share.
man. Let me go on there and support them brothers and order me some fufu and pepper soup and some palm wine.
Well, I don't know
I'm
if they,
trying to
I don't know if they deliver here. I know it's they deliver in Nigeria because
and a bag of tiger nuts. I can
that's
get it.
hilarious. That's a
I can
huge
get it.
huge market.
I can, I can get it. If they selling it, I can get it. I got some partners go over there. I'm just
That's
keep
hilarious.
my stuff till they go there and come on back, man. That's what's happening. Let me go ahead and support them. Because I really want some of that palm wine. For real. So you tap that palm tree like you're getting maple syrup, but wine comes out. I said, how has this not been in my life all these years? I feel so deprived.
Well, just mix it up with CBD. Now you got CBD palm wine.
Listen, stop playing. You see, and that's why, folks, y'all should tune. You shouldn't miss a show because that's about the fifth brilliant business idea
CBD
that we've
palm
given
wine,
to you. We've
hilarious.
given it to you, and if you can just, get it over there, get that palm wine from over there, you in business. You're in business. It's a beautiful thing.
I saw a CBD face mask yesterday.
Well, for like cosmetic thing, like a face.
No, like like women when they go to bed, they put that green mask on and then they go to sleep with it on. This
No, I don't let
one,
them do that around me.
oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. This one, they put it on, and then go work out, and it keeps them calm.
Oh, ooh.
And it's not green, and it
Say, look,
dissolves into your face or whatever. But it's a CBD mask, and it maintains
so
calmness.
a mask like a facial, like you rub it into your skin,
Yeah.
not like a ninja.
No. Mm-mm. You rub it into your
Okay.
skin.
I
Yeah.
had the wrong idea. Well, they can do that around me. I don't
That's hilarious.
mind.
That's
I just
hilarious.
had this image of Storm Shadow on a treadmill. When he's trying to work with that one.
Yeah, Deadpool.
Yeah. For the real GI Joe fans, Jinx. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, so it's in everything now. It's truly amazing.
So
It's
we're
interesting though
inside.
when I saw High Times and they were talking about all the influencers, the most influential people in cannabis, and it was all these corporate people.
Listen, and I was just going to say, we're living in a time where the only limitation is your imagination and your ability to think of stuff. The average person hasn't caught on to that yet, that if you can think of something, you can start doing it. But, these corporate people, that's all they do is think of stuff to do. And, but it's just, what's missing is that human element. What's missing is that story. What's missing is that that the legitimate, authentic feeling behind the product, because they're just trying to make revenue. They're not really doing something that they really care about. So if anytime someone comes up with a CBD mask for working out, that's someone who really did that shit.
Mm.
And so everyone listening to the show has a lifestyle or an interest or pursuit or something they could monetize into being the next influential part of this industry.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
And then we wouldn't be looking at corporate types that are in charge of a market, which I think is apocryphal because, CBD and cannabis has always been revolutionary and counter authoritarian. So for the authoritative corporate types to be the ones leading the marketplaces.
Well, that's how I felt, and that's why I brought it up, because I felt like it's not scandalous, but disingenuous, I think, because
Exploitive.
yeah, very exploitive. Because you have people in jail who, even recently, Daz, Snoop Dogg's protege from Dog Pound, he's facing several years in jail because because he took some weed, a joint that he would normally just roll up and smoke in California, and he went to Georgia, and Georgia does not have those same laws, and they and then he did it on Instagram or something while in Georgia. So they have the evidence of him doing it, and he's facing some jail time. But said all that to say, you have people who've gone to jail, who are still in jail. If you went under the 3 strikes law for a joint, and now all of a sudden, and you've had people their brands have been encapsulated by marijuana from the beginning, like Snoop, like Be Real.
Wiz Khalifa.
Well, even before, I'm talking even like before him. I'm talking like
okay, I got that.
Way back, the Loonies. What's his name? Exhibit. The alcohol. So many of them.
Don't forget Red and Meth.
Redman, Method Man, Biggie. All these people who were basically pushing this culture when it was very unfashionable and it was seen as a loser activity. Or you're a pothead, you're a weed head, or you smoke weed, or you do drugs. And yet we fast forward now to 2019, and those people have had to bear the brunt and the weight of that stigma for all those years. Although people like Redman don't, I don't think he's ever cared. But to now see
been profitable for them.
Well, now, not back then.
I mean, with these guys, these are recording artists. I mean, they were making money with pushing that. You know what I'm saying? But they were the vanguard.
Redman had a dispensary before people knew what dispensaries were. Because I saw him on Drink Champs with Nori, and Nori said there was a weed spot in New York that Redman used to work, and he said he went in there. And he said, you can't just walk in there. He said, it's an invitation-only weed spot. But you go in there. And again, this was 20 years ago. And he said this was long before dispensaries or any talk of legalization. And he said he walked in there and Redman was behind the counter. He said, but he pretended like he didn't know who he was because he wasn't sure how to approach him. He was like, well, should I say, hey, what's up, Redman? Or is he Redman today? Or, what's going on? I don't want to cause any problems or impositions. And Redman was cracking up. He was like, yeah, I was back there. So we were running a dispensary before you all knew what dispensaries were. And he was talking about all the high-profile rappers used to come through, like Biggie and all these people. But said all that to say, it's just when you think of all that history, if you think of the people in Humboldt, California, who used to grow weed, who've been growing it since Vietnam days. I mean, like rogue cannabis growers, and Humboldt, California was literally like the Wild West of weed. And they've all been now priced out and pushed out of the industry by these corporate types because they've been so used to selling it the outlaw way. And then now Humboldt came down on him and said, okay, well, you got to legalize. You got to get licenses. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to market it the regular way. And they don't know how to do that. And a lot of them are losing their farms and losing their livelihood because it's transitioning from the black market underground product to the mainstream KOOL cigarette type of product.
Newport.
Yeah.
Newport.
Yeah.
But you know, it's old saying you can't teach an old dog new tricks. But I keep saying that for our generation and the generations before, you could have the greatest idea on the planet, but 9 times out of 10 to make it manifest and profitable, it was so cost prohibitive, you might as well not even thought of it.
Yeah.
But something has changed within the past 7 years, and it's going to continue to happen to where the technology is so cheap and things are so moving so fast, entropy again, that really the only limitations are your imagination, work ethic, and stick-to-itiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And for older people that have been growing trees since 1969, I'm sure they don't understand that, because I've been here for this whole transformation to a digital world. I've seen the analog world fade away in the birth of the digital world. Now it's completely digital, and I still have to remind myself, just think of some shit. You can do it, And I've created several projects. I just thought up and started working on them, and a year and a half later, or whatever, they were real and selling. But it is still an obstacle I have to struggle to overcome. The reality I was given from my youth that there's this imaginary wall between you and what you want to make manifest, and that's not the case anymore. But I have to. One of my daily mantras is just think of it and you can do it, because that's where we are now. And I think there's a million people out here with a great business idea, a great business service, a book they should write. But there's that block that, there's something that can stop you. And it's like the Wizard of Oz threw a switch and didn't tell nobody, and everything's different now.
Mm-hmm.
So the fate of these people doesn't have to be the fate of anybody else. I just don't think they get that everything is so different now. It's almost like another planet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It is like another planet. I get that feeling sometimes where you think, when you look at the 90s, you look at even the 80s, and you think, wow, this was another world. This is another, I wouldn't even say another era. Like you said, this is another planet. Like this is.
80s was better though, but
No, well, yeah, we're not, no argument there. But when you go down the line, like the last weekend, I was watching some of those classic blaxploitation movies. I mean, we're not going to get into the politics of that, but I watched Blacula. Which I thought was absolutely hysterical and very entertaining. I watched Let's Do It Again. I watched...
do you know I saw that in the movie theater with my parents?
Which one?
Let's Do It Again.
No.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it in the movie theater with my parents. And if anybody's in the DMV, we went to Landover Mall when they had that movie theater, and you had to walk down the stairs. And I saw Let's Do It Again with my parents.
Wow.
And I remember it to this day that was one of the first movies I ever saw.
Mongo Slade. Bootney Farnsworth.
I said, JJ, look. And I said, Mom, JJ can box?
My favorite part about that was before Sidney Poitier's character hypnotized him, and he was doing the exhibition, and he was just, getting his ass beat, and he looked at his coach, he said, hey, coach, man, what are my chances? He said, they're going to beat your brains out, Bootney. That boy going to beat your brains out.
Oh, what about when they robbed Zenobia's, and that joker said, all right, everybody, strip down to your drawers.
Oh, you going to Uptown Saturday Night. Those are
Oh, they're
two.
the different ones?
Yes, there were two. There
My
was
bad,
Let's
my
Do It
bad.
Again. That was again Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier, and then you had Uptown Saturday Night with Harry Belafonte, Flip Wilson. He was a reverend,
Okay, I'm confusing my exploitive films.
I guess, because the
But he went,
Let's
he
Do
went,
It Again had what's his name, John Amos, and had
yeah.
Jimmy Walker.
That's the one I saw in the theater.
Okay.
And I'm confusing that with the other one because that brother said, all right, everybody strip down to your drawers. And he went to that sister and she said, I don't
Wear
wear
underwear. And he said, "Don't play games. Just take it off." And she took it that she took that shit off. He was like, "Lord have mercy." See, he didn't know I knew those movies like that.
Hey, man, look, you know him better than I do. You know him better than I do. But oh, how the mighty have fallen because we don't have nothing like that now.
No.
Yeah, look, the 90s was better for movies than it is now, man.
Yeah. What do you think? Think of how art imitates life with a movie like Deep Cover, 1992.
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne, back when he was Larry Fishburne, before
Yep.
he put some respect, in the words of
On it.
Birdman, on his name. Yeah.
Before he was giving them pills out, Jack.
Yeah, and what was old boy trying to sell? Synthetic cocaine.
Yep.
His own formula
That's right.
of cocaine.
That's right.
And the powers that be, Felix Barbosa and all the rest, they were not having it.
That movie's ahead of its time.
Yeah. But again, I think it's art imitating life because you fast forward, because that's how many years now? 28 years? Yeah, just about, yeah. And you look at where we are now, it's art imitating life. But what I was saying was with those blaxploitation movies, like you said, it's like when you go that far back in time, it's literally like going to another planet. The mannerisms were different. The attitudes were different. The vernacular was different. The cars, the way the city, everything just different.
But you know what? There was a style and a confidence and a respect that is portrayed in those films, and it was real. It wasn't just in those films because people were acting that way then.
Yeah.
Those attributes that are displayed in those movies, people don't have them anymore, but they need them. I got a friend of mine, a young man, is a jazz musician. He's very accomplished. Been all over the world playing his music. I'm so proud of him because I remember when he was working a dead end job, and I just kept beating him to death with the truth that he needed to get out there and do his thing. And one day we were talking about a look. As I said, brother, you need to have a look if you're really going to be a musician. You need to have a look. You can't just be walking around T-shirts and stuff. You need to have a look. And you know what I told him? I said, man, you need to watch Miami Vice. Like, just watch Miami Vice. Not that you're going to look like one of those people, but there's just so much style and
yeah.
so much substance to it. Just a guy walking down the street. There's just so much presence and energy and I said, man, just watch that because it is another planet. But I think every era has something majorly and useful that it contributes that we shouldn't disregard or leave it behind.
Well, to expand on that, Ro, what useful things can we mine from the 2000s? Because I'm at a loss because I feel like it's just been downward trajectory after probably
And I got an answer for you. Well, you knew I did.
No, I'm sure you did. I would have been surprised if you didn't. So
the 2000s to me taught two things: integrity and defense. And by what I mean by that is, we lost Tupac in '96. And that's one of them days. I can tell you where I was when I found out. And then, no disrespect to this man, but we got a little Zane in the 2000s, and his flow was kind of like a lifted Tupac flow. Even down to riding on my enemies, sipping on some Hennessy. That's like,
Yeah. I remember him. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the integrity of something as major as a Tupac was kind of lifted to be used as almost a trope, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is that's when we lost hold of fashion and music.
Yeah.
It became corrupted and taken over by corporations who have literally had us stuck at the same point culturally in pop culture for 20 plus years. I mean, there's no reason a kid today should be sagging when the first time I saw that was 93. There's no way a kid today should be listening to rap music when that's the music we built. I didn't wear stacks and patched leather jackets like my father did, and I didn't listen to the music he listened to. And when he first heard rap, he thought it was cool. He's like, why is the record sound like it's stuck? But then when that Wild Wild West came out by Kool Moe Dee, that was his shit. He was converted then. He used to do the little dance and shit. Wild Wild West.
Oh, that's too funny.
He was good. But you know what I'm saying? So the 2000s to me, although bereft of any culture or anything of any
substance,
semblance, any substance, exactly. There's a lesson that can be applied. Maintain the integrity of anything that you're doing that the people resonate with, and then defend it. Don't let it be taken, because the music industry has been taken over to the point where it's non-existent, and fashion has been stuck. I mean, the only thing new now is a skinny jean, but it's sagging them. I mean, there's nothing. People still wear ball caps.
Well, skinny jeans are not new, because when in the 90s, when black musicians, mostly rappers and R&B people, it was baggy jeans. The only people you saw in skinny jeans were skinheads and rockers.
You're right. You know what?
So it existed. Right. It's just that we didn't touch it. We didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Which is not the case now. Now, which is kind of funny.
That goes back to the integrity of it, because I remember one time my aunt, my mother, my cousin, and my little brother, we were walking to Bob's Big Boys. We were walking from the car to the parking lot to the Bob's Big Boys to get something to eat, and these punk rockers walked by. They were walking by, and they had the blue Liberty spikes and mohawks and all this stuff going on, and the docks and then those trip pants. And my aunt says, "Lord, I hope they don't say nothing to us." And there was a time when black people would never dye their hair blue or green, wouldn't wear no skinny tight pants like that, and wouldn't have no holes in their jeans. And now they do it. And they're doing it because the punk rockers, they let it go. They didn't preserve the integrity and defend the integrity of their movement and their style and everything. And it had value. I got punk records in my collection right now. They did, but they didn't they didn't maintain the integrity of that movement and what it meant politically and socially, that a lot of people stole from. There's a lot of punk elements in hip hop now, just the rebelliousness and everything, the nihilism of it, and they didn't defend it from being captured. And now, 30 years later, I'm looking at people walking. I went to the bank the other day to deposit some money, and this 50-year-old woman had blue hair. Neon blue. And I'm like, there was a time you had to have your shit together to work at a bank touching somebody's money.
Oh, wait. This was an employee?
Yes, behind the bulletproof glass.
Oh, wow. I thought this was a patron that you saw that was 50 years old that had blue hair. Oh, wow.
Yes, that's where we are now. But it speaks to you have to maintain the integrity of a thing, and you have to defend it. I would rather I'm a former United States Marine. I was in the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps, it's a storied, historic organization. But there's some things happening with that organization now that make me wish, let's just end it and let it fade into the annals of history, like the samurai, like the Spartans, these other warrior groups. I would rather it end with integrity and dignity than to be perverted into something that would make me ashamed to even say I was a part of it. And so I feel like that is a lesson that I get from the 2000s. That's when we lost and things were taken from us, and we didn't maintain things. We didn't defend a thing. And you can parlay that right back to CBD oil and CBD businesses. I mean, this is a cultural expression regarding cannabis and CBD.
Yes.
And so
it's not corporate.
So therefore, no, and it must have an integrity to anything you do with this for it to be legitimate. And you must defend that. And I don't mean take up arms, but I mean through your choices of how you conduct business, and who you do business with, and what deals you sign, and how you portray your product or your service.
And who the influencers are and who the representatives are.
Yeah.
Because that's what I feel like. That's what I felt like when I saw that article and it said, "Oh, the top influencers of the marijuana industry," and I didn't see any brown faces, and I'm saying to myself, this thing hasn't even cracked the surface yet, and it's already becoming corporatized, Silicon Valley looking already. And now, I to play devil's advocate, there are a lot of people on the flip side of the coin who I'm advocating for who don't necessarily have the business acumen in terms of how to present it in a corporate manner. But nonetheless, some of these people ran successful street entrepreneur businesses for many years. So they do have business acumen. It's just that they were doing it in the prohibition mode or prohibition style of doing business, like with alcohol. But I don't know. I just feel like there should be some for all, and not just people of color, but there are plenty of white people too. Like I said, if you look at the Humboldt, California community, there are a lot of them who've been in it for 50 years, 60, 50 years. So.
Yeah, but to go back to what you said about somebody that was doing anything in the streets, or even these hippie folks out there in California, and then not having a business acumen. I mean, it's home computers. I mean, there was a bunch of tech nerd guys that understood DOS and knew computers out the wazoo in the late 70s and early 80s, and they had to figure out how to get the average person to even think they needed one.
Yeah.
And so they just reached out to the people who knew how to market, so people like yourself, and they brainstormed together how to come up with a new marketing scheme to make people think they needed one. And so it's Dirty Harry again. A man's got to know his limitations. Everyone does something well, but you don't get to do everything well. That's why there's teams, and that's why you need to work with people who do something well.
Correct.
Someone like yourself that knows the ins and outs of this stuff. I mean, if you're creative enough and you're part of this culture and you can come up with an idea or a product that has a definite consumer base and a need, you don't need to know how to bring it to the market. You need to know how to make it, produce it, tell the story, and maintain its integrity. And you need to go connect with somebody who knows how to bring it to market. And to go back to what this thing is, influences are, the influencers and CBD, and it was all corporate types. Hey, since when is anybody called an influencer? I think that's a scam. So they can start calling that. I heard that 2 months ago for the first time. Really?
Well, that's been around for a couple of years. That's been around for a while.
Yeah, but who made it? Because that's not the streets or the internet.
No, it's not the streets, but it's definitely I think the entertainment world, when the TMZs, the exactly. Extras, we have look at these people and well, what word can we use to encapsulate what they're doing? They have all these followers, and they can convince their followers to make sales and make purchases. Oh, they influence their followers. Influencers, that's what we're going to call them, and that's.
But look, once again, they're capturing, they're stealing the integrity of a phenomenon. Someone gets on the internet and YouTube and they make a name for themselves. That's theirs. But these people are going to come along and give you a name. You're an influencer. And once people buy into that, now they get to tell you who the influencers are, whether they are or they're not. Because you've already brought into the term, and that opens the door into your acceptance of it. And now they get to tell you, well, these people are in charge of it, and you're accepting it. It's just an example of, that word is not organic to anybody's scene, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
That's something corporations made. And once a corporation puts their title on your shit, they're about to come take it. or steer it away from you so you don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm rambling, but I'm just saying.
No, that's true. That's true.
Anybody out here, man, I got game, Jack, and I see stuff coming, and don't. It goes back to maintaining the integrity of what you're doing. If you're really doing this CBD thing and it matters to you, and you really want to put something out there to help people with their anxiety and their inflammation and stuff, man, these people come along and write you a $2 million check, man. If you're really about it, all money is not good money, because with that check comes a price, and they're gonna take the shit from you anyway, and you're not gonna have it anymore. And you're not gonna be able to really do what you intended to do, which is benefit yourself first and foremost, and provide a useful product and service to people who need it. Don't let these people come take stuff. We're right back to the year 2000 again. They're trying to take stuff that other people have made. The Vanguard, the Be Reals and the Snoops and the Dre's and the Red and Meths. These guys took the risk to make this thing more socially acceptable, so a corporation can come and then call you an influencer. And then once people buy that you're an influencer, now you're not the influencer no more. It's the CEO of whatever, because we bought into the term.
Yeah, pretty much.
Stay free. Stay. Just keep your integrity on what you're doing. That's the long game. Anybody can make a lot of money one time.
Yeah.
How many people can control something and maintain its dignity and integrity?
Well, that's what it's about. It's the control and the like you said, maintaining the integrity, maintaining the dignity, maintaining the culture. Because if you look at rap has lost its culture, its cultural base.
Yeah, it was hijacked and watered down for mass consumption and mass profitability. It ain't cool no more. It shit ain't even cool. It's drug addict music. It's not even cool.
Drug addicts and misogyny.
But it's not even cool.
No, but there was a time when it wasn't. You remember the days of Queen Latifah? Who you calling a bitch? And today these girls wear the word bitch as a term of endearment. It's a badge of honor. Say, I'm the baddest bitch. And
that's why, it's like something Prince said. When Prince came out, nobody was dressing like a girl and nobody was cussing. So he dressed like a girl and started cussing. As soon as everybody else started doing it, he stopped cussing and wore couture suits and stopped it. It's only cool when a few people are doing it. But like Queen Latifah had UNITY, and who you calling a bitch? At the same time, Pac had the same hoe. I see the same hoe.
Oh yeah, I remember that with Nate Dogg. Yeah.
But may he rest in peace, another United States Marine, hoorah. But all I'm saying is that it was the integrity of where each of those people was coming from. Queen Latifah was coming from this direction with what she had to say, and Pac was coming from this direction with what he had to say, and it both worked within the same 2-year period. Don't hold against me if I'm wrong chronologically, but it both worked because it was an integrity and it was just an integrity to what they were doing. It wasn't. It was being sold. But it wasn't for sale, goddammit. Put that on the bumpers. Yeah. It was being sold.
Sold, but it wasn't for sale.
Wasn't for sale.
Exactly.
Goddammit. There's another, hey, look, make that and just send me cash at me my money.
That's hilarious.
Business idea we gave you. And so I'm just saying, the integrity has to always be there. And whenever the integrity is gone, the product is gone. I remember when Pontiac was my favorite car company. They went from making Trans Ams and Grand Prix and stuff, and then they named everything the G's, G4, G6s, G8s, and they were over. They were gone because the integrity of what they were supposed to be disappeared. They were kind of trying to be like little bootleg BMWs. Yeah. Rather than what they were supposed to be, driving excitement with the heritage of driving excitement. Even if if a young kid could get into that with the Sunfire entry-level car, and they turned into like little wannabe BMWs right before they went out of business, So there's just myriad examples of any time the integrity of something is sucked out of it, it's over.
Mm-hmm. Well, on the last couple of minutes of the show here, since you're talking about integrity, tell us a little bit about integrity and labeling when it comes to making products.
It all comes down to the story. It's the story. It's
for labeling.
To me,
okay.
I'm not the expert.
No. But you have experience.
Yeah, I'm a visionary, and I've done it. And so,
which is why I want to hear.
Yeah, the labeling, it tells your story in a snapshot. Your logo, your emblem, is the thing that catches the story. I'm here looking at a bottle of kombucha I drank earlier today, and there's a particular logo on this bottle of kombucha. It's an anchor, like ship's anchor. Why did I buy that one and not the 4 other brands that were beside it? Because that anchor, that emblem
spoke
in
to
and
you.
of itself. And not only did it speak to me, it made me want to know, well, why is there an anchor on a bottle of kombucha? And now I'm picking it up, I'm looking at it, and it's just so different, but there's an integrity to what this is. The bottle is shaped different. We can speak to packaging. The bottle is different. The labeling is clean. It's telling me why this is healthy, why they make, once that emblem caught me, and I'm picking up this bottle, now I'm seeing the story. Why did they make it? It's on there. What is it? Why is it what it is? And so for me, integrity labeling, it catches people because it's so authentic and true. In a whole shelf full of products, that catches a person to pick it up. And once they pick it up and start reading, they get in your story. And that's why I bought this bottle of kombucha rather than the other 7 brands that were there, because this labeling caught me, and I read this story. And whether it's true or not, I believe that whoever makes this really cares about what they're doing and gave me the best product they could.
The story, product without a story is not a brand. And it has to have meaning. It has the packaging has to speak to the customer, and that could be the logo, the font, the color scheme, the design, the words written on it. So basically, the words correlating with the color and what's the image that's being formulated in my mind. So if I'm seeing pastels or I'm seeing earth tones, and I'm reading organic, and I'm seeing logos that look like plants and leaves and vines, all those converge in my brain and say, oh yeah, this looks like something I'd want to partake in.
Yeah, in a label that's clean, that instantly gives this information with like infographics and catchphrases or whatever the catchphrase is for the business. So I'm not laboring to figure out what this is. It just caught my eye, I picked it up, and I got it, and I'm going to take a chance on you. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but I've brought several products to market, and that's the way I've approached what I've done. I'm sure there's different ways, but for me, why I buy things and why I've done things to be sold, it was always about a feeling. How do you feel when you see this? I need to catch you with how you're going to feel when you see it. That's just me. But, there's art in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's art.
And people pay for that.
Yeah, and art, I think Mona Lisa's ugly as hell, but...
So do I.
But there's a vast multitude of people that can articulate in great detail as to why that's one of the greatest pieces of art in the history of this planet. And I can't eschew that or
Well, I mean, it's interesting to look at. I can't deny that, but whether I think it's a bit of a stretch to postulate the theory that this woman is the least bit attractive.
Well, I'm with you. I'm with you.
But the painting is interesting. Yes, it is. It's definitely a conversation piece. Yes, that on that we can agree. But
maybe it reminds somebody their grandmother or something. She smiled like that when she took the chocolate chip cookies out the oven.
Yeah, no, that's like Salvador Dali's paintings. I mean, those paintings are just disturbing to me. I can't, because everything's the clock's melting, the person's face is everything's melting in Salvador Dali's paintings, and it's just disturbing to me. But
hey, what about Peter Max? You ever see Peter Max?
Peter Max, what is he?
Man, if you Google that guy, his stuff is just bright as hell. I'm just like, how are you making a living with this? This shit is just so bright. it's streaky, but yeah, but hey, if you know, there's something to it, you know. There's something to it. God bless him.
But guess what? Each one of those guys has a distinct feature that we can point
Yeah.
out, which is why whether it's Van Gogh, whether it's Picasso, whether it's Dali, whether it's this guy you just talked about, they each have something distinct that sets them apart from the next painter. Otherwise, it's just oil paint and a brush and
just raw material.
raw materials, exactly. And a canvas. So, and on that note, audience, we're going to wrap up today's podcast. Hope you join us again for the next one. And we are hoping that you'll support us in setting up a Patreon, and we're going to be taking donations too to help do more with the show. We'll be giving you more information about that once that is set up. But we will be back, and we look forward to bringing you more news and more interesting topics from the world of cannabis.
And until then, stay bowdy, my friend. Stay bowdy.
All right. Peace out.